Guys, are we ready? Are we ready for the interview? Camera's on me? Because it doesn't look like you've got it. Am I in focus, and are you pointing the camera at me? Those are the two questions you have to answer. Right, I mean, well, I'm not doing this. Mr. Steve Carell, absolutely love to see you here. Hello.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming. We wouldn't have an interview if you weren't here, and it would be me.
That's true.
In an empty room.
That would be sad.
It would be upsetting. So Gru is back, which is great. Although it's fair to say, not as despicable as he was the first time around.
He's a changed man. He's a little bit different these days. He's kids. He has a burgeoning career as a jam and jelly magnate. It's not going that well for him. And he misses the whole world of being an evil villain.
Good night, Edith. Good night, Margot. Whoa, hold the horses. Who are you texting?
My friend Avery.
Avery. Avery. Is it a girl's name or a boy's name?
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter unless it's a boy.
It's fun to see Gru's transformation, especially from the first movie when the first 30 minutes he's just awful. And then you really get to see him change. And I feel like this movie starts off with him as more of a family man, and he just wants to be a dad and make jelly. And he's really given up on being like a villain or a hero. He just wants to be a dad.
I know what makes you a boy.
Who you do?
Your bald head.
Oh, yes.
It's really smooth. Sometimes I stare at it and imagine a little chick popping out.
Good night, Agnes.
You're back, Despicable Me 2. Yes. Although you're not back, but you are.
I'm back in a different form.
Yeah.
I've been animated, reincarnated.
That's good. if that's not a thing, it should be a thing.
It's a thing now.
It is.
Reincarnated.
That's even better.
There we go. We'll go with that.
Mr. Gru, Agent Lucy Wilde of the Anti-Villain League. You're gonna have to come with me.
Oh, sorry.
You know, you really should announce your weapons after you fire them. For example, lipstick taser!
You are different in this movie. Agent Lucy Wilde. Tell me, she seems like a fun character to voice because she's feisty, and then I guess she has what is called in the industry, like she goes on an emotional journey throughout the film.
Thank you for noticing. Yeah, she's very enthusiastic about her job, and it's always fun to play positive people that are always happy and silly, and I get to play with Steve Carell. I mean, what more could you want?
Hold tight.
When you were making the first movie, just to take you back, I mean, it was a huge success, and deservedly so. It's a great film. When you were making it, did you ever sort of think, look, I don't want to blow our own trumpets, guys, but this is going to be big. I know it.
I had no idea. No, and you never know. You never know. Even if you think a movie is good or accessible or something that's going to resonate with people, you never know until you put it out there. And this one just did. I think for a number of reasons. I think it was smart. It was funny. It was accessible. I think it struck a chord in people, in both adults and with kids. I think it was funny, but there was a certain, for lack of a better word, a certain edge to it that you don't see very often. And I don't know. I love playing the character too.
I have accepted a new job.
Whoa, really?
Yes, I have been recruited by a top secret agency to go undercover and save the world.
You're gonna be a spy?
Ah, right, baby. Gru's back in the game with gadgets and weapons and cool cars, the whole deal.
I think the first time I heard the voice that Steve Carell was going to do for Gru, because I had no idea what it was going to be like, I think I thought that voice is it's pretty awesome what he does with the character, and also the Minions. I think the first time I saw like a picture of one of the Minions, I was like, this movie is really imaginative, so I hoped it did turn out really well.
Get in there!
just never know how people are going to react to something. And every time something is a huge success, I mean, you can't really. I mean, I never sit back and go, oh, this is really this is gonna do it.
Never.
No, you never know. I mean, you get feelings, of course. I knew it was gonna do well, but I mean, it did really well, and people really responded to it, which is so great.
Are you really gonna save the world?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Luca! Cacao! Papadum? Eh?
In a sea of animated films, because there are so many these
Yeah.
days, they're big business. Gru, as a character, it was a unique thing, which is what all the best animations are. Something people haven't seen before, a story told from the villain's perspective.
Right.
Someone who enjoys being evil.
That's something that drew me to the first one. I read it, and to have the hero as the villain, I thought was intriguing, and it wasn't condescending toward children. It was somewhat sophisticated, and I just thought this is a world. It's kind of a dark world for an animated movie, but at the same time, it had a lot of heart. It was very sweet, without being overly so, without being overly sentimental. So I think it made people feel without manipulating their emotions. You know.
What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Nothing is wrong. I'm just chilling with the guac from my chip hat.
Grow, please. I know that look all too well. It is the look of a broken heart.
How did you know?
Believe me, my friend, I too have spent many nights trying to drown my sorrows in guacamole.
What was your reaction when you first saw him, and sort of like this bald guy with legs that don't look like they should be able to support his torso?
No, he looks like a potato on toothpicks. Sort of. He initially, when I first saw an illustration of Gru, he was very different looking. He was very long and thin and angular and dark and scary. And the directors and the animators thought that they should change that, alter it, make him a little more accessible looking. So they rounded off some of the edges. They made him a little more jolly and jovial, but I thought they'd gone too far the other way. So what they have now is basically a hybrid between the two. You know, it's not quite as severe as the original rendering, but it's not as kind of silly looking as one of the incarnations. And I think they got it right. And so I tried to match the voice to that. That would be vaguely sinister, kind of mean, kind of villainous, but at the same time funny.
Whew. Wasn't expecting that. Or was I? Ooh, you got a little.
It's so funny to see your animated self, even though it's not you. It's still like when you're watching the movie, you see this face and your voice is coming out, and it's weird. But I love the way she looks when they first showed me the picture with her little scarf, and I love the way she looks.
And you were totally happy with it? Because I
Yeah.
mean, the one thing is, like, I just sometimes wonder, because if I had an animated character of me, it'd be far more muscular than I am, and it would have those
Well,
big...
it's not really you. I mean, if it was you, you could make it look however you want.
Yeah. She's hot.
She's gorgeous.
She's great. She's great.
Yeah, what you just saw there was a little something new I've been working on. It's a combination of jiu-jitsu, Krav Maga, Aztec warfare, and crumping.
Okay, that's weird. Why are you here?
On assignment from Silas. I'm your new partner. Yay!
What? No, yay!
I have a theory about why people sort of react in such a huge way to animated characters. I think it's because there's no backstory. People know about actors because they're aware of them outside the films they do.
Right.
And they've seen them in other films, and so they have a preconception. But an animated character exists purely for the duration of that movie, so you can invest so much more in them. You have no sort of preordained thoughts about
That's
them.
true. You don't know any of the terrible things Gru is getting into when he's offset. You know, yeah, I think that is true. It is very pure in that way, and they exist only in your imagination as well. And it's interesting in terms of backstory within the movie, though, because in this in the second one, there's a scene where you see Gru as a child trying desperately to make a conversation with a girl that he likes. And it's a horrible, it's funny, but it's sad, but it really informs who that character is presently, that he can't talk to women, and it's a struggle. And it makes him even that much more human, even though he is an animated character.
Hello, Lucy. This is Gru. I know up to this point our relationship has been strictly professional, and you're leaving for Australia and all, but okay, here is the question. Would you like to go out on a date?
No.
We are the Anti-Villain League, dedicated to fighting crime on a global scale. A new villain has surfaced. You know how a villain thinks. That's why we brought you here.
Pins and needles.
I am the League's director, Silas Ramsbottom.
Bottom.
Hilarious.
I've never made an animated movie. I've never supplied the voice for one. But if I was to, hypothetically speaking, what tips would you give someone to get the best out of your voice in a voiceover booth? Do you go big? Is it big gesticulating, or is it just all about the voice?
It's that. Everybody has a different way of doing it. I think for me, the key is to try anything. You go big, you go small, you can get very quiet and subtle, because you ultimately don't know what they're going to need at that point of the movie. And the director can guide you. Well, this is a point where he's shouting to someone who is, 100 meters away, so you have to amplify your voice. Got it. You can basically get a realm for where your voice needs to be. But other than that, you just try everything. And I feel like when doing an animated character, it's the actor's job to give the director as many options as he can give, so he can thread it together with all the other actors.
Slow it down. Okay. Scared? What? Of women? No. That is bonkers. I just have no interest in going out on a date. That's all. Case closed. I'm not scared of women or dates or women on dates or none of that.
Voiceovers compared to live action, there must be something that's quite fun about not having to go through hair, makeup, wardrobe, and just going into a booth, perhaps in a duvet or your pajamas, and going.
Everyone always thinks you go in your pajamas.
I
It's
would.
so funny. I mean, yeah, you don't dress. I don't dress up in gowns or anything, but it is nice to not have to worry about it. It's great. Yeah.
I think you should make that. I think it would be
just like full hair and makeup,
a gown,
gowns, gloves, the whole thing.
The lab was devoted to experiments involving PX41, a transmutation serum. What is PX41, you ask? It's pretty bad.
Did you see what Margot looked like before you started doing the voice for her? I mean, and does sort of the character's appearance influence like the voice that you eventually sort of use?
Well, I had an idea of what she looked like, and I knew that like her age and the story, obviously, but I think I went in maybe 2 or 3 times for the first one before I actually saw like a full-on drawing of Margot. So it was sort of I kind of came up with exactly what it was going to be like before I really saw her. But.
So you kind of knew where you were, and you didn't go, oh no, this voice is not going to work for that character. Could someone not have shown me that? Because I've got something else in my head.
I think it'd be like even more helpful if you saw the character if you were like doing a totally different voice than you, like what Steve does.
Right.
I'm sure he probably like needed to see Gru to come up with that crazy voice. I wonder if he saw him first. I've never asked.
Hey, that is a great. Can I have that question?
Yes, you
I'm
can
gonna
have
just let me get that down. Did you see Gru first? You're doing my job for me now. Brilliant.
Evidence, schmevidence. I go with my gut.
I want to tell you that this is my question, but Miranda, who I just interviewed, went, I wonder if Steve saw the drawing before he came up with a voice. And I went, that's a great question. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to ask him and pass it off as my own.
Okay.
But because I'm honest, I haven't done that.
But you can always edit this part.
I will.
And you can always pass it off as your own.
It's got, once I start asking the question, well, this
Just cut it out.
Yeah.
Just use it as your own.
This bit's gone.
Don't admit to anything. you have to learn. Just take credit. I take credit for most of this movie, even though I just supplied a voice. I'm saying that I did most of the animation. I directed it. I did the music. Pharrell, not so much. Me. So just take credit. And the worst thing that can happen is that you get sued and run out of the business.
Okay. If that's the worst thing, I mean, it gives me more time to
Sure,
build model
why not?
aeroplanes, so that's good for me. Here's my question. Here's my question. Did you see the drawing of Gru before you came up with the voice, and did that in any way influence the voice you came up with?
I did. Yeah, I did see the drawing. They have every voiceover session. You have illustrations of all the characters in front of you. The girls, the minions, Gru, the other villains, everybody in the movie, sort of surrounding you on a soundstage. And because you're by yourself, you're not with any of the other actors. So those are the only visual cues that you have, and they help. You know, you can look at a minion and say, "Guys, come on, we've got to get going. Dave, Jerry, get out of there!" and you're looking. You know, all you can do is look at that illustration of the minion, and sort of imagine. So yeah, when creating the voice of Gru, I looked at the face, looked at his physicality, and tried to figure out what that guy would sound like. How, you know, he would sound kind of stern and mean, but at the same time, kind of funny. And so I picked a vaguely Eastern European accent that was sort of from the classic villain, you know, vein. And but it's, you know, it's not a proper accent in terms of any nationality. It's just a conglomeration of you know, different accents.
All right, here we go. For real this time.
I can do this.
This is kind of an impossible question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you think the secret of his sort of success as a comedian is? If you could distill it into sort of what it is about Steve Carell that makes him just so funny and audiences love him.
It is a hard question, but I can say that he doesn't have that I want you to think I'm funny vibe. Like, he's not trying. You're watching someone who is having fun, which I think is key when you're doing comedy. I mean, for me, I love to watch people have fun, and he just seems like he's enjoying himself, and he doesn't really like force it. It just kind of comes because he's naturally really funny.
Totally get that, absolutely. It's just,
So I answered your impossible question.
if there was some sort of prize-giving ceremony right now, I almost feel that
Nothing?
it should
There's
be.
nothing in here?
You have this.
Oh, what? I have a feeling
Have
I
you
know what
not-
that is. I have not seen that.
Oh, do you want to go?
Of course I do.
Of
Are you
course
kidding?
do. Yeah, it's the most amazing thing.
Do they all sound different?
Yeah.
So they don't all have the little one at the end?
Another one.
That's amazing.
There's another one.
Can this interview just be you asking me a question and then you cut to me and I'm just... And so I don't have to have any answers? Can we please do that?
It's never not funny.
How do I get one of these? This is amazing.
Yeah, I was given one on the way in, like it was a thing. I think everyone's got one. But no, we,
Wow.
we have to do more questions.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
You can't give me a fart gun and then ask me to focus.
Call one of your munchkins!
We've been spotted. Come get us.
Subtle.
in terms of the minions, now I don't want to disrespect the intricacies of the plot of this movie and the fantastic storytelling and the journey that Gru goes on and the character arcs. I could watch two minions fighting for 3 hours.
I know. I knew where you were going with that. I think they are a very unique creation, and they upstage like no other. You know, they say don't work with kids or animals. Add minions to that, because there's no way anything you do is. We're doing press junkets. Everybody wants a photo with the minion. There's minions walking around the halls, and people are freaking out about these, you know, these 3-foot tall minions. There's a Minion balloon that's flying around London right now.
I've heard about this balloon.
There is a Minion blimp called the Despicable Me flying around, I'm not kidding, the United States in the shape of a Minion. The Minions are, there's a Minion movie coming out a year from now.
Yeah.
The word Minion wasn't really used that much up until 3 years ago. And now, everybody, all kids want a Minion. And there are Minions in this movie that are they're of a different breed. I don't want to give anything away, but there's a different kind of Minion that's introduced in this movie that will delight and horrify. That's all I'll say.
I know. It's that's it. It's when they point and laugh at each other's misery. It's like that thing that it's because like it's that thing that you could never do in real. Like they are like the most base sort of emotions where you just want to go.
They're the Marx Brothers. It's what dawned on me when I saw the movie a couple of weeks ago. The Minions are the Marx Brothers.
I have you now!
Wow.
I love the Minions. I think they're pretty crazy and awesome, and I would totally want one. Like, if they were real, I would completely want a Minion. But, yeah, we've been hanging out with them a lot, and like we were just doing a press junket in LA, and I had to go to the bathroom or something, so I went to the elevator, and when the elevator door opened, there was just this person in a Minion costume, like leaning against the railing, and I went in, and it was kind of awkward. Like, it was just me and a Minion standing, like, waiting to get to the floor, and then finally I, like, took my phone out, and I took, like, a picture with the Minion. I'm sure the person that was in the costume was really weirded out, but...
I guess what would have been weirder, because obviously the Minions speak their own kind of crazy language.
Yeah.
If you'd actually gone, all right, and you'd gone, hello, I'm Dave, I'm playing a Minion
What's
today.
up?
Yeah. Having
How
a
you
nice
doing?
day. Yeah. Just like, what?
I would have been like...
I'm going to get a coffee. Do you want a coffee? Yeah. I am joined now by two of the biggest stars from the new movie Despicable Me 2. Guys, great to have you here. How are you doing?
Hello.
That's fantastic to hear. Well, it's good that you're so excited. Now, I'm going to put it to you that really this whole Steve Carell, Kristen Wiig thing, they're not as big a deal in this movie as you guys. Am I right?
Look at you.
If I could ask you to just sort of really sum up what Despicable Me 2 is all about.
Hey, look who we are. Kumquat.
All right, I'm sorry. Can we cut that? That's disgusting and really inappropriate. This is a family show.